There is a man you've likely seen, though he never tries to be seen. He enters a room, and he doesn't look around for approval. He doesn't check his reflection in every window. He doesn't adjust his posture the moment a beautiful woman walks by. He is centered. He is still. He is what the ancients called autarkes, self-sufficient. The paradox is that while he is the one man not looking for female validation, he is the one man who receives it in abundance. Every other man in the room is performing. They are telling jokes too loudly, showing off their status, or subtly checking in with the women around them to see if they are being noticed. They are beggars. He is a king. Today, we are going to explore the radiant indifference of the Stoic man. We are going to look at why the desperate search for validation is the very thing that kills attraction, and how, by choosing to need nothing, you accidentally become the thing everyone wants. We aren't just talking about dating, we are talking about the reclamation of your soul. If you are ready to stop being a satellite and start being the sun, comment below right now, I am self-sufficient. Pillar 1. The architecture of the internal prize. To understand why a Stoic doesn't need validation, we must look at where he keeps his prize. The average man keeps his prize in the hands of others. He wakes up and checks his phone. If he has a text, he feels good. If he has a like, he feels worthy. If a woman smiles at him, his day is made. But if the phone is silent, or the woman is cold, his internal world collapses. He is a man built on sand. He is what Epictetus called a slave, regardless of his wealth or status, because his happiness depends on something he does not control. The story of the two builders. Imagine two men building towers. The first man builds his tower out of mirrors. It looks beautiful, but it only stands as long as others are looking at it and reflecting their light back onto it. The moment the crowd leaves, the mirrors grow dark, and the tower feels empty. The second man, the Stoic, builds his tower out of granite. He builds it in the dark. He builds it when no one is watching. He carves every stone with the tools of virtue, discipline, and purpose. He doesn't care if a crowd gathers to watch him build. He is building it because he is a builder. This is the inner citadel. When a woman encounters the man of mirrors, she senses his fragility. She knows that if she stops looking, he will break. There is no challenge there, there is only a burden. But when she encounters the man of granite, she senses something terrifyingly attractive. He doesn't need her to stand. Because he doesn't need her, she becomes fascinated by him. She wants to know what kind of foundation allows a man to be so unshakable. Pillar 2. The law of radiant indifference. There is a psychological law that states, whatever you pursue, flees. When you pursue a shadow, it moves away at the exact speed you move toward it. Validation is the ultimate shadow. The Stoic man practices a concept called apatheia. In modern terms, we call this outcome independence. This doesn't mean he is a robot, it means he has disconnected his value from the outcome of any interaction. The field scenario, the high-stakes interaction. Imagine you are at a high-end event. You see a woman who is used to every man performing for her. They approach her with a script. They try to impress her with their job, their car, or their wit. They are all investing heavily, hoping for a return of validation. The Stoic man approaches, or perhaps he doesn't approach at all. If he does speak, he speaks as if he is talking to an old friend, or better yet, a younger sister. He isn't trying to be charming, he is simply being present. He doesn't overstay. He doesn't look for a win. He is willing to end the conversation at any moment because his internal state is already at one. This is radiant indifference. It signals to the woman subconscious that this man has pre-approved value. Her brain thinks, he isn't trying to get anything from me, which means he must already have everything he needs. He must have other options, or better yet, he must have a mission more important than me. By needing nothing, you signal that you have everything. This is why the Stoic gets validation, because he is the only one who isn't asking for it. He is a non-beggar in a world of beggars. Pillar 3. the mission versus the muse. Marcus Aurelius sat at the head of the greatest empire in history. He had access to every pleasure, every woman, and every form of validation a human could conceive. Yet, he wrote in his meditations, "Do not be whirled about, but in every impulse let justice be the goal." For the Stoic man, the mission is the sun, and the woman is a planet. For the average man, the woman is the sun, and he is a cold, dark planet trying to stay in her light. The story of the navigator. Imagine a ship at sea. The average man is a navigator who follows a muse. He follows the wind and the waves. If the muse is kind, he sails well. If the muse is stormy, he crashes. He has no destination of his own, he only goes where the muse takes him. The Stoic man is a navigator who follows the North Star of purpose. He has a destination. He is going to a specific land to build a specific thing. If a muse wants to join him on the ship, she is welcome, but only if she can keep up and respect the journey. If she leaves, the ship doesn't stop. The navigator doesn't cry for the muse to return because the North Star hasn't moved. Women are biologically and psychologically drawn to direction. A man who is moving toward a goal with total focus creates a slipstream of energy. Validation flows to him because he is a person of consequence. He doesn't need her to tell him he's doing a good job, the results of his mission tell him that. And that certainty is the most intoxicating thing a man can possess. Pillar 4, the courage to be disliked. Seneca once wrote, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive." We can translate this to modern social dynamics. He who fears rejection will never do anything worthy of a man who is respected. Validation seeking is essentially a fear of rejection. It is a social survival mechanism. Most men are so afraid of the social death of being disliked or rejected by a woman that they become chameleons. They change their opinions, their style, and their tone just to fit what they think she wants. The Stoic filter. The Stoic man doesn't use his personality to attract, he uses it to filter. When he speaks his truth. If it's unpopular, he says it anyway. If he wants to leave, he leaves. If he disagrees with her, he says so. He isn't being a jerk, he is being authentic. This creates a polarity. A man who is willing to be disliked is a man who cannot be controlled. And a man who cannot be controlled is a man who can be trusted. A woman knows that if a man isn't lying to her just to get her validation, he won't lie to her when things get difficult. His willingness to walk away, his willingness to be the villain in her story if it means keeping his integrity, is what makes him the hero in his own. Pillar 5, the science of the no response. Let's get into the practical, modern application of Stoic silence. We live in the age of the validation economy, Instagram, TikTok, dating apps. These are all built on the dopamine hit of a response. When a woman pulls away or becomes hot and cold, she is often, sometimes unconsciously, testing the validation floor. She wants to see if your floor is solid or if it's made of thin ice that will crack the moment she stops standing on it. The field manual, the power of silence. The average man reacts to a pull away with noise. He sends the double text. He asks, "Is everything okay?" He is essentially saying, "My validation floor is cracking. Please stand on it again so I can feel safe." The Stoic man meets silence with superior silence. He doesn't even notice the withdrawal because he is too busy with the tower of granite we talked about in Pillar 1. He isn't playing a game of ignoring her, he is simply genuinely busy. When she eventually returns, and they almost always do, she finds the floor is still solid. It didn't move. He didn't even notice she left. This realization is a massive status reset. She realizes that she is not the one in control of his mood. This is the moment that chase begins on her end. She begins to seek his validation because his is the only validation that isn't for sale. Pillar 6, the investment principle, deep psychology. In every human interaction, there is an investment balance. Imagine a literal scale between two people. Every time you text, call, compliment, or worry about someone, you are putting a weight on your side of the scale. If your side of the scale is heavy and hers is light, you have lost the value war. You have signaled that she is the destination and you are the tourist. The Stoic law of investment. A Stoic man never invests more in a person than he has invested in himself. He follows the rule of proportionality. He meets effort with effort, but he never tries to buy attraction with overinvestment. Why? Because he knows that desire is the daughter of scarcity. If your attention is everywhere, it is worth nothing. If your attention is rare, it is a prize. By not needing her validation, you make your own validation the most valuable thing she can earn. You move from being the one buying to being the product everyone is trying to afford. Pillar 7, the amor fati of relationships. Finally, we must discuss the Stoic concept of amor fati, the love of fate. This is the ultimate level of the man who doesn't need validation. The Stoic man looks at every relationship and says, if this lasts forever, wonderful. If this ends today, wonderful. He loves the fate of the moment. He doesn't try to grip the future, the story of the open hand. Imagine your hand is a platform. If you try to catch a bird by closing your fist, you will either crush it or it will fly away before you can close your hand. You are acting out of fear. But if you keep your hand open, the bird can land. It can stay. It can fly away and come back. The bird feels safe because there is no grip. The Stoic man is open hand. Because he doesn't need her to stay, validation, she feels a level of freedom and peace around him that she can't find with grip men. And the irony of the open hand is that birds stay there much longer than they ever stay in a fist. The Field Manual, the 30-day Stoic reset. If you have been a validation beggar, how do you stop? You cannot just decide to stop, you must train. The fast from feedback. For the next 30 days, do not post anything on social media for the purpose of being seen. Do not check who viewed your stories. Delete the feedback loops. The mirror statement, every morning, look in the mirror and say, the only person whose approval I require is standing right here. 3. The walk away drill, in your next 3 social interactions, be the first one to leave the conversation. Don't wait for a lull. Leave while it's still good. Prove to your brain that you are the one in control of your time. The mission first rule, for the next month, your work, your gym, and your personal growth come before any female interaction. If she wants to see you but you have a workout planned, you keep the workout. Conclusion, the unshakable man. The man who doesn't need female validation is not a man who hates women. On the contrary, he is the only man who can truly love them, because his love isn't a trade. He isn't giving love to get validation, he is giving love because he is full. He is a well, not a straw. Most men are straws, trying to suck life and meaning out of the women they date. The Stoic man is a well, overflowing with his own purpose, his own peace, and his own strength. When you stop needing, you start leading. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. This is the Stoic way. You focus on your virtue, your mission, and your mind. You draw a circle around your life and decide who is worthy of entering it, rather than begging to enter theirs. If she validates you, it's a pleasant breeze. If she doesn't, the mountain doesn't move. You have traded the fleeting, exhausting high of someone else's opinion for the eternal, unshakable power of self-mastery. Don't wait for the world to tell you who you are. Tell the world by your actions. If this message hit home, then subscribe to join the Brotherhood of the Unshakable. Share this with one man who is currently losing his power in the search for a smile. And remember, never let your emotions override your execution. The world doesn't reward those who need, it rewards those who provide. Be the man who provides his own light.